Hi. Today we are going to cover following topics. That is, what is the knowledge graph? What is the applicability of knowledge graph in testing? How to construct knowledge graph and knowledge graph versus RAG, which is a very common confusion point in testing. So let's start with what is the knowledge graph. So, uh, so knowledge graph is basically a visual representation of what you see in a text. For example, you have a text 1, which says that user sends an email. Now the knowledge graph corresponding to this text will be a node relationship node diagram. So if I have to create a kg for this, so it will diagrammatically looks like user, this is relation, and then email. This particular term, which is basically we are calling noun, or it could be also called as a subject. These are called nodes or entities. A node or entity is connected via a relationship. So this particular verb is called relationship. And then email again is a node. Okay, so in a plain and simple language, if I have to say, a knowledge graph is a representation of a given text into node relationship node form. Okay, so now let's see, you have another text, that text 2 user, oh sorry, we say that email has attachment. Email has attachment. So now if I have to convert this into knowledge graph, so I can just simply say email has, this is another node, attachment. Now if you observe this knowledge graph, it gives a flow which directly you might miss. For example, text was user send email, and then email has attachment. So it gives a flow that user sends email which has attachment, although explicitly it is not connecting that user has the send an email which has the attachment, but through the knowledge graph we get a flow that which says that okay, it could be a possibility that user sends an email and which has the attachment. So these are the some of the implicit flows which gets discovered during the knowledge graph creation. So that's why the knowledge graph is a key technology, I would say, in the software testing. So it basically brings out the hidden or implicit flow. Okay, so this was a knowledge graph. Okay, so the other topic was, what are the applicability of knowledge graph in software testing. So let's talk about applicability. So there is a wide range of applicability in the software testing. It can be used for test case generation. It can be used for test case generation. So it can be used for chatbots. It can be used for impact based test cases. Which means, for example, if you got a change request from version 1 to version 2, in a UI or in user stories, you will be able to identify the difference and you will do the specific testing. So these are some of the applicability of the knowledge graph in the testing domain. Now the topic comes that how to construct a knowledge graph. So how to construct a knowledge graph is very important, because there are several way to do so, and none of the way I would say is 100% which you can say no, this is the best way, because knowledge creation of knowledge graph is, it comes with a practice, but then there are certain things which can you use, you can use to get started. So first is that you can use the NLP concept of named entity recognition. So this also can be used to construct a knowledge graph. Then you can use LLMs to construct a knowledge graph. And you can have yeah, these two are the main things. You can use the library for NER for this knowledge graph creation, and you can also use LLM. But while creating with LLM, it could be like a blind blind space, where you just have to ask LLM to create the knowledge graph. So you might get to a situation where your prompt which you have used for knowledge graph creation is not extracting the right set of entities and relationship. So you have to do lot of tweaking and a lot of changes in the prompts as per your application or as per your requirement. So a detailed prompting would be required if you go by LLM, and I would recommend you go by LLM as well only, because as LLMs are improving, they are getting better in extracting the nodes and entities. So yeah, this is the like how to construct a knowledge graph. Then there is another very like frequent discussion about knowledge graph versus RAG. Okay, so let's take an example. For example, you got 10 user story 1 to user story 10, and your objective is to write the test cases, is write test cases using RAG. Okay, so what you will do is you will have your context data, all the context data stored in a vector DB. So all the context data, that means your business process documents, your HLD, your user guide, these all you will put in the vector database. Let's call this as a vector database. Now a user comes and do a retrieval based on the user story. Okay, user story. So through the vector DB you will get the context for that particular user story. Okay, so user story context we would say here. Now when you construct, then you will send this to LLM to generate the test cases, and test cases would be generated. But the problem with this is each of the user story, let's talk about the issues. So each user story is treated as independent. That means when you retrieve the context, you get the context of that particular user story, and your test cases also belongs to that particular user story. So there is no connection between the user story, and then there is no connection between the context as well. So no connection between user story and no connection between context. Which gives you a coverage or accuracy, decent coverage and accuracy, but you lacks in the edge flow or the exploratory test cases, and that's where the knowledge graph comes handy. So what happens in the knowledge graph? The knowledge graph gets created for all the user stories. So you will have user story 1. If it is related to user story 2, it will be linked. If it is related to user story 6, it will be linked. If it is related to user story 4, it will be linked. If it's a standalone user story, that will stand out. And if any other user story is connected to user story 6, so it will be user story 8. So in a way, user story 1, user story 6 and user story 8, all three are connected to in some way, which is not possible when you are doing through the RAG. So when you have the test case generated, so you will have more end-to-end scenarios. You will have hidden flows explored. And the context also, context as well, user stories will have some connection. Logically. So this is why the KG is preferred, but then KG can have its own shortcomings. Like KG can be uh, more towards finding the hidden flows, but when it comes to the enriching the prerequisites or the test steps, KG can be like it's not that effective. So many times the clients are pushing for KG plus RAG, that is, we are also calling this as graph RAG. So what happens is that KG can be used to find the hidden flows, and RAG can be used to enrich the test steps, prerequisite, etc. So this is how this knowledge graph is used in the software testing. I hope this is useful for you.